It's gonna be June.
Well, it's for May.
That's fair. It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May.
Welcome back to Tablenauts. My name is Max.
I'm Doolin.
And today we're doing our monthly recap for the month of May. But if you're not new here, welcome. And we also do things a bit differently. We only pick a handful of games that we want to talk about for our monthly recap because we want to dive into them and basically talk about our experience with them, whether we liked them and want to purchase them or own them and want to get rid of them, or where they sit on our desire ranking. I'm going to need you to do some graphics there.
Oof. Okay.
You can do it. So we've each picked 3 games today, not 6, but 3 games today for a total of
4 games.
4 games for a
Each
total
8.
of 8 games. And we're going to be talking to you about them today. I'll start out with one that is right in front of me. I have 3 of these physically. One of them's not here, but this is a popular game, and also the creators of this game are running a Kickstarter for another. For another 4-letter game. But this is Fort by Leader Games.
Great.
And I will mention that our play was with the dogs in the Cats and Dogs expansion.
That's partly why I wanted to bring it up too, is because we had a whole new expansion sent to us, and
we've never played with the cats yet, and we've only had one play with the dogs. Fort is a game that I have liked, but it has never become a love for me. I've only played it a few times, and it seems like it's not hard to teach, nor is it the simplest game in the world.
Yeah.
But like the ratio of like who am I gonna play this with is the tough part for me, because it's maybe a bit more complex than something I'd play with my family, yet a bit more luck-based and less strategy than something I'd play with like you and Kenny necessarily. That's not necessarily true, because we play lighter games. Speaking of, one of these ones we'll talk about later is zany and wild and lucky. But it's one of those that I've yet to find the core audience for when it comes to being in my collection. With that being said, I like Fort, but I've already kind of spoiled it, so I'm not going to make you guess this time. Next time we'll start.
Are we doing that anymore?
Well, no, I don't know if we want. So I've not really I've not spoiled it yet. Do you think I'm keeping this one, or do you think I'm getting rid of it, or where do you think it stands in my collection?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
With board games in general.
It's really a matter of when it leaves your collection, Max, not if.
That's not even what I was gonna say, but like, part of like the thing that draws us to potentially call it is because of the space it's taken up on a shelf.
Yes.
Fort takes up so little room.
Yep.
And there's so much in this tiny little box. It's also Kyle Farron art.
Yeah.
So like it's a attention grabber when you have it on your shelf, and even if I only play it once a year, it's still like it's Leader Games.
Yeah.
It's Kyle Farron art. Like, I'm happy to own it. I love the Kids Next Door-ish like type theme. For me, I'm willing to keep it, and I feel like you're kind of the same way.
I am right there with you for basically all the same reasons you said. Both art and production, and I'm just kind of like a Leader collector. Like, it hurt to get rid of Oath because I just love Leader games so much.
But Oath is like
big.
20 forts.
Big, yeah. It's a lot of forts. You could make a real fort with 4 copies of Oath.
It's true.
Oat. What am I, like a Quaker sponsor now? Anyways, my girls call it oatmeal.
Oatmeal?
Yeah, they're like, can we get some oatmeal for dinner?
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal.
Where'd they
Okay,
learn that?
I'm so glad you're editing this. This is staying in my collection. Like I said, it's hard to really find the core audience for it, but we pulled it out for the first time in probably almost a year at that point the other day. To try out the Cats and Dogs expansion. We played with just the dogs. It was a wild game. And I think we played it right.
Yeah, no,
because
Max destroyed me with one card, pretty much.
With basically one card.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we played, so hopefully we got the rules right. I think we did too, and I found a card, and I was able to trash several cards early on because of various different things, that I then got my deck down to like 12 cards. And basically, almost all of them were skateboards. And my one card was like, you get this amount of pizza for how many skateboards you play, and then you can discard that pizza for a victory point per pizza.
Yeah.
And so it was like every other turn, if not every turn, it was like 4 pizza, 4 victory points. 4 pizza, 4 victory points. And so I didn't go for anything else.
No, and it worked.
I was like, Doolin, I don't care about making my deck better. I'm just gonna end the game with this deck only, and it worked. I got to like 25, and you were at like 8, maybe.
Well, I ended the game at like.
Right, but I ended the game at like 30 something too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I drew it within 15.
Yeah, but it was. I don't know why that laugh was like, I drew it within 15.
But we did get at least a little bit of what the dogs have to offer.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I used a dog. You used no dogs.
Yeah, and dogs, like whoever has the most dogs
Gets 7 points.
Gets 7 points.
Which I think that dogs will be seen more often in longer games, because we both had several dogs that it was like, you can't use this until your fort is level 2. Well, my fort didn't get level 2 until like the second to last turn of the game. So it just was these things that didn't get used because they have requirements ahead of them. And I think you, and I may have missed teaching you this, but during the game you were like, these dogs like suck.
Yeah, they're useless.
And I was like, yeah, but the point is you need them in your dog house to get the points in the game. You're like, oh
yeah, you know, I didn't know that until like,
I think
the last
I missed
turn.
that part of teaching.
Yeah.
Not that it would have changed the outcome.
You taught me
much,
how
but
to like play them, but I was like, I don't know why
they were good. I think I mentioned it, but it was literally like, oh, person with the most dogs gets 7 points at the end of the game. Flip. Like it was just like in passing. So that's fort. It is staying. Again, small, beautiful, and definitely enjoyable. I've just yet to find the core audience for that, for sure.
All right, so my first one I'm going to talk about is not fort. It is in fact a game by Next Move Games. It is currently, oh wow, I think I just ruined however it was
stored in there,
organized in there, but it's currently 1760 on BGG, which is actually, considering it just came out, and like it's popular, like I don't know, it says it came out in 2021, but it really didn't. It came out like a few months ago. It's Azul Queen's Gardens. Max, I don't want to tell you anything about this. You know that I like Azul. You know, actually, it's in my top 10.
Yeah.
You know that Emily and I have. I'll tell you, I've played this 3 times now.
Yeah.
Do you think I am keeping Azul Queen's Gardens?
Full transparency, just by the nature of being your friend, we do talk outside of this table. I know that you've played this, and I know that you like it, but it hasn't struck a chord with you, especially Emily, yet. I definitely think it's staying in your collection, but I think it's definitely an asterisk of like for now. I think you need another half dozen plays, and then at that point in time, I think you'll be comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I want to keep this, or I really don't think I'm ever gonna play this over normal Azul.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and I think that at least for me, like I'm gonna speak to my thoughts first, and then I'll move to Emily's, because I think that is important to how I keep the game or not. I am starting to really like this. I think that the strategy of this game is, it takes the base idea of Azul and just gives you a whole lot more freedom in how you score points and how you play things, how you sacrifice. Like if you think about it, in Azul, like it forces you to sacrifice 4, 3, 2, or 1 or no tiles when you try to place on your board. The cost of playing on the 5th row versus the 4th row versus the 3rd row is a certain amount of tiles that you've collected, but you're just stacking them, so you don't really think about it in terms of a cost. Well, in this game, when you're collecting tiles, they also have symbols that you have to keep track of as well, but they all go to a pool. They're not in rows like that, and you can choose which of the ones you want to grab based on the symbols and the color that they are, and they have a cost based on their symbol that you have to sacrifice a certain number of same type tiles in that pool that you have.
That sounds more akin to Summer Pavilion.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. But like instead of it's tough because it adds a whole other realm of like extra thing. Like, you know how in Azul you just start with your big board. Well, in this one you have to draft board pieces. And the board pieces have special things on them as well. It's unique. It's way more thinky. So if you are just like, you know, I love the easiness of Azul, and to break that out,
probably not for you.
Not be for you.
Right.
But if you like base Azul, but it left you wanting more from it, this is the game for you.
Yeah, and I really know absolutely nothing about Queen's Garden.
Yeah. I'm hoping that maybe we play it today.
I am interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested to play it, and I think it might be. I liked Summer Pavilion more than base Azul. I still like normal Azul, but it's definitely more of a 2-player competitive drafting experience, whereas Summer Pavilion is just more of a like a puzzle, like figuring out my own thing. Summer Pavilion was my preferred Azul, so I really want to give this one a go.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But again, just to speak to Emily a little bit.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to say that she definitely would rather just play Azul, like base Azul. That being said, she's beat me twice in this handily, and I only won once, and I'm very, like, I think that she's good at it. It's just one of those things where they could have named it anything else, and Emily had been like, "Oh, this is a good game," but because it says Azul, like it's like you immediately want to compare it to the original.
It hasn't met expectations.
Yeah,
sure.
So, but anyway,
okay,
that's Azul Queen's Gardens.
Scratch off Fort, and I'm gonna scratch off one that we're about to talk about, which I'm not gonna pull out here because I do not have it. Ooh. So this is Lords of Vegas, which was taught to us, and we played it with our friend Kenny. This is a game in which you are a boss of certain casinos and you're trying to build them and reorganize them and change their color and what type of casino they are and bid and make bets and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, not to have the most money, but to score the most points, because I do think it's very important that you make that distinction. This is not a game where money equals points.
Yeah.
This is a game in which you are scoring based off of cards that flip, that have a certain probability based off how many of them have already come out, and that's how you score points, your connected areas, and the probability, blah, blah, blah. So, this game is out of print right now, so let's not talk about it in that terms, but I believe it's coming back into print later this year.
Okay, yeah.
I don't own it. I'm not going to pay the absurd money out of print, but what do you think, and I want to know the same answer for you, because we played this game together.
We did.
Do you think that I want to acquire this game, or do you want to acquire this game? Where do you think this sits for us?
Oh, man. It's hard to say this without giving away my thoughts, but I guess I can talk about my thoughts.
Yeah, we'll talk about it both at the same time. I'm going to say that you probably want to acquire it depending on like cost, I think is it.
Okay, and then for you, I think it might be a pass.
Okay.
I think it might be a pass. We'll see.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I haven't fully decided yet. It's not a pass in the sense that I've not made up my mind.
Yeah.
I've not made up that decision that I'm not getting this game. I really liked it. I do think there were a couple things that I didn't love, and of course a lot of it comes down to pricing. Is it getting the Castles of Burgundy treatment where it's going to be $100? Probably not for me. Is it going to be more accessible and something that I can get for $40, $50? Maybe for me. I don't know. But we played it at 3, which I've heard it's better at higher player counts, which is harder for me to come by. Easier for you to come by. I do think it's a game that I want Danielle to play, and I think she would enjoy it for the most part. I really liked many aspects of it. Like the whole betting thing was so fun.
Yeah.
I loved that.
So fun.
I have $5. I'm gonna bet you, Doolin. I roll some dice. Give me $5, or crap, I just lost $5. I really just like the free form aspect to that. Like the game just starts and you're just like, okay, I could bet some money right out the gate for fun. I actually built out all my casinos quicker than I should have. And I think this is something that in a second play would show. Like we'd have a little bit of past experience and be able to perform a bit better. I mean, you crushed it. But really, it came down to you and Kenny dueling over that one particular area.
I got pretty lucky with a draw of a card, and that changed everything.
Yeah. Well, probability. You know, it's not all luck. I mean, you were just deciding things off of that. But what do you feel about it? Since I've already talked about mine.
I think this is a great game that I will play at cons if people ask, but it's not one that I need to own.
You don't think your family would like it?
I think that yes, but I don't think it would be one that we revisit time and time again.
Sure.
I love the what you're talking about is like the idea of being able to bet was useful mainly because let's say you were a few resources or money short from trying to do something.
You needed 18 million to reorganize. You only had 15.
And there are so many times in our games, like of Catan or something like that, where you're like one resource short.
Right.
And it'd be great if we could just be like, all right, here's this die. 1 through 3, you give me a piece of wood. 2 through or 4 through 6, I give you a sheep.
Right.
Can we do that? But I don't think that you're allowed to do that in that game. But that being said,
I mean, I guess you could if you agreed to it, but
it was just long.
It was long.
And
I do think that would come down in more plays.
The end game of we all have a bunch of money.
Yeah.
and then being able to reorganize or do any of that kind of thing as often as you want means the game could probably drag for a really long time. And I don't think that it would last very long in my collection, or wouldn't be one that sees the table enough to warrant the price of it. So, but I definitely, if people were playing it, they're like, hey, Doolin, come over and play, I would be down.
Yeah.
Like this game is fun.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about our experience with that game, I can't think of another game, at least in recent memory, that I had, such disappointment in one aspect of it, with it lasting too long, the latter third being just flip a card, whatever.
Yeah.
Yet I still feel like I can forgive it because we were dying, dude. Like we were cracking up. We were rolling dice and stealing stuff from people, and
it was very funny.
Like big moments when the dice went for one person and then the next turn it went right back to the other person. Like I can't think of a game in recent memory that we've had those kinds of like laughs. That's not like a traditional party game. Because I would liken this to something more like Catan. Not that it's exactly the same, but I can see similarities there. Whereas it's not like monikers. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a bigger difference between that and monikers. But super fun. We'll see when it gets reprinted, what the price is at, what the availability is at. I'd like Danielle to try it. I don't know, but we'll see. But that's Lords of Vegas. Thanks, Kenny, for teaching it.
Lords of Vegas, and then I'm going to talk about a game that I got to play. It's the only new to me game that I got to play when I visited Drew in Louisville, and we played a little game called Campy Creatures.
Oh, you played it?
Keymaster game.
Okay, good.
Keymaster.
Yeah, it's Keymaster.
Keymaster, yeah. Currently sitting at 1556 on the BGG. What do you think I'm gonna do with it, Max? Do you think I'm gonna buy it? Do you think I am content with my one play of it? What do you think?
So this is I really don't know anything.
I haven't talked to you about it at all.
I really don't know anything. I am of the opinion that if you loved it, you'd probably already own it. Like, because you played with him a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you loved it, it's cheap enough, you would have just been like, this is mine. Like, I want this.
Maybe.
Oh, I think that you liked it, but you don't want to own it. Da Vinci?
Okay. So, I'm realizing that if it's a small box and cheap,
you just like it anyways. Yeah, that's fair.
I'll buy it. But here's the thing.
Did you buy it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Will you buy it?
Yes. I will buy it. I want to own this. I want to at least try this with my family. It's lightweight.
It's beautiful.
It's so cute. Which is weird to say because it's like you're playing as like these monsters,
Swamp Man and stuff like that.
Okay. So one of the things that people who've played with me know that I love in games, and you can see in my rankings, like obviously I favorite these kinds of games. Any game where there is a blind reveal, where people are choosing from a hand or choosing to hold out or play a certain number of resources based on the board state or whatever's going on, and trying to reveal based off of that. Like, I love those kind of games. And Campy Creatures is just that, the whole game.
The whole game, okay.
It's a... look at these cards, see what they do, look at what is available, look at what we're possibly going to win, look at what the opponent already has, and then playing a card based off of that. I crushed.
Did you?
Crushed his dream.
Sorry, Drew.
But I loved playing against him. He was very kind about it. I could tell like halfway through he was like, "Oh wow, you've really ran away with it there, haven't you?" And I was like, "Yep." And I just have a huge grin on my face. I'm like, "This is great. I love this game." But all that to say, on top of that, the reason I want to own this is because there's a lot of variety to the game that I haven't seen yet. You can change out the monsters, you can change out the cards that you are trying to win, because essentially it scores a little bit like Sushi Go or any of those other games where you're getting sets of things and trying to score points that way. But it's a blast. I love the monsters, and I love all of their abilities, and I think that higher player counts, it'll only be more fun because of the
Yes, you played it at 2?
Mm-hmm. And it was actually a blast.
Okay.
So I think this game is great. If you haven't tried it yet, I think it's a very cheap.
It's like $20 or less
to jump into.
Yeah.
So I liked it at 2. I'm really looking forward to trying it with Emily, with my family, and I think you'll love it too.
Okay.
So yeah,
cool.
Campy Creatures.
Cool. I want to talk about Hexaquest.
Hexaquest.
The strategic trivia game.
Another game that I know nothing about. Well, I know a little bit because you told me about it, but I've never played.
Yeah. This is a trivia game in which basically you have a bunch of little plastic tiles, which are super nice. I definitely thought it was going to be cardboard when I got the game. Turns out it's plastic. On one side, you have the category. In this case, it's movie buff. On the other side, you have the point value, and they're going to be spread out.
Ask me a movie question, Max.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's ask you a movie question real quick.
Do it. I'm gonna
movie
look
buff,
away.
a 2-point movie buff question, which means it's going to be pretty easy. Okay. This is hilarious. The card that I just drew is hilarious.
Oh gosh.
What is the prestige about? Adultery, religion, ego, or illusion?
Illusion.
Yeah, well, you got that one a little too easy. The Prestige is like one of Doolin's favorite movies of all time. Basically, you are going to see, you're just going to build out a whole board, and you're going to see the tiles one side of them. So if you want to go after a category that you're familiar with and think you can get right, you won't know the point value of them.
Okay.
Or you can go after higher point values or lower point values, but not know the category you're getting. The fun thing about this game is it's a push your luck game. So if I get one right, I can push up to 3 times and I keep all of them. But if I get the first 2 right and lose the third, I lose all the points that I gained that entire turn. Game ends when the entire board is destroyed. What do you think?
See, okay.
We've never talked trivia games on this channel.
No.
My family used to be a huge trivia game family. Now, with that being said, I was always the weakest. I'm not good at it. Though I did beat Danielle in this just the other day. She was mad. She was livid. Literally upset.
I think you're definitely keeping this. 1, because Danielle loves trivia games. And then 2, because of your absolute love of push your luck games. It's like a combination of 2 awesome things that you both love. I'm thinking Can't Stop. Like that's a Max game right there.
You know, one push your luck game I don't like is Fill or Bust. I am keeping Hexaquest. It's interesting. I reached out to the publisher of this game, or designer. I'm not even quite sure. And I said, look, I'm interested in a copy. I'm not sure when it'll get a dedicated video. Like, I don't know. Because oftentimes we're swamped. I was just like, if you want to send it, great, but don't expect anything. And it was funny. He was like, I told him about Bezer Wizard, which is our family's favorite strategy, or our favorite trivia game is Bezer Wizard. And he was like, look, no questions asked, don't even make a video unless you prefer this to Bezer Wizard. And I was like, okay, I'm not there yet. I don't know. I'm not going to say whether or not, but hey, look, you made it to a video already. Look at you.
I actually I dig the art.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the production is cool.
There are things that I really like about this game, and there are things that I wish could be improved. The beauty of all things, especially a simple game such as this, is house ruling, right?
Yeah.
One of our favorite things in Bezer Wizard is the fact that you're engaged on every turn because you can buzz, you can Bezer Wizard in and steal an answer. So you can do that prior to a question being read for full points, or after the question is read for 1 point in Bezer Wizard. And there's no way to steal in this game. But us as our family love to steal. Like, we just love to be involved
like
in
that. I like to think for a second if it's just me and I know nobody's gonna steal.
Well, let me rephrase. Okay. It's not a steal like jump in. It's a if you get it wrong, I get a chance.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. So I wouldn't want a buzz and like jump in either, but this is just if you get it wrong, I want a chance to guess it and get a point. Okay. So I think we're gonna formulate some kind of house rule for this because I think that would make it even better. But yeah, this game's really fun if you like strategy games. I mean trivia games. I keep the strategic trivia games throw me off.
Yeah.
If you like trivia games, I really can't recommend this enough after 4 or 5 plays. And I would love to hear your recommendations if you have more in the comments below.
Yeah.
Because I've only ever found that like Bezer Wizard was a good alternative for us. Trivial Pursuit, not great. The one where you like the one that's like not Lords of Vegas, but it's got a Vegas edition party. It's a very popular trivia game.
With some wagers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't care for it because it's like all numbers based, and like
that's true.
It's not you actually knowing anything, which is a positive for Wits and Wagers to many people because it's a trivia game for dumb people like me. You can play it without knowing anything, but like for me and my family, like they like to know things and feel smart. That is Hexaquest. There's the strategic trivia game. I don't even know who. I think it's Tumbling Heads is the publisher. So there you go.
Cool.
Hexaquest.
Cool. All right.
I think it's hilarious that the question we got was about the Prestige. That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
That's incredible.
Wasn't planned at all. Number 3 that we're going to talk about is a little game we played with Kenny as well on the same night that we played Lords of Vegas. And this is Marvel Champions, currently ranked at like 37, I think, on the BG. Yep, I was exactly right.
Oh, wow.
By Fantasy Flight Games. This is it's not a deck builder. You build the decks before.
Normally deck construction.
Deck construction, co-op game where you're fighting against the villains in the Marvel universe.
We fought Rhino.
Which supposedly was supposed to be really easy.
Kenny.
And we nearly died.
Barely won, like, woo!
Man, and you played as
Thor.
Thor.
God of Thunder.
It's
probably not how he sounds.
Who did I play as?
You played as, he's really cool, green guy, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, crud.
Oh, don't do me like this. What is his name?
There's Gamora, there's Mantis,
it's not
there's
Grogu.
Raccoon, there's Groot, there's Star-Lord, and
I
then
said
there's
Grogu. Isn't that from Star Wars?
It's Grogu.
Grogu? Get out. I've never seen it.
Drax. I played
Drax.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay.
Don't talk anymore about it.
Oh, I was gonna say who Kenny played as.
Oh, he played as Spider-Man. Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Miles Morales, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
Don't talk anymore about it.
Am I gonna buy it? Or are you gonna buy it? I think the answer for you is no.
I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
But I'll say it's closer than it has any right to be, as far as whether I want to buy it.
Really?
My hope is that you do want to buy it. I don't think you want it all, because this is a $500 game if you want it to be. You can buy everything. And I think that's what scares you, is that it's a living card game and it's a lot of money. And I think that in your head, you want to buy it, but you're afraid that you're going to want it all. And that's what making you not want to buy it. So I'm going to say you are going to buy it, but you're going to look for a deal to get in no more than like 60, 70, 80 bucks.
You're pretty much right.
Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't want to.
Oh, changed his mind even.
But the thing that drew me in was the fact that both of you said that this is known to be a really good solo game.
Yeah. We played it at 3, and most people say it's best at solo.
Yeah, I don't want to, because I don't want to get drawn in, and I need if I do, I need you to hold me to Josh. You don't need to spend.
Just buy like your favorite characters.
And I would probably ask for help in building the decks, like maybe get Kenny's opinion on.
Oh, Kenny
stuff.
says he doesn't construct his own decks. He just looks online. And
Okay.
I think that's something I would do too. Any kind of deck construction, like whatever. I want to play the game. I don't want to.
Now I will say that half of the fun of Magic Gathering for me was building.
I never played Magic.
But
yeah.
I mean,
not much interest in it now.
Yeah. Especially if it's co-op. Like,
yeah.
if I was playing against other people, then oh man, like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go away and I'm gonna.
You gotta meta that out, baby. You gotta get up.
Like, imagine if Root, like, you could choose exactly the things that you wanted based off.
Coffin Makers round 1.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. This game was a blast to play as a group. There were a lot of like moments where I don't know, and on top of that, I loved the way that our characters interacted because you were a big heavy hitter.
It was odd that I also was like supporting you all a bunch.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what Thor's supposed to do. No. But I kept drawing cards out of my hand, and I was like, Doolin's doing 4 damage. Let's make him do 5. So I was like, here, take this.
Yeah, and Drax's thing was he was gonna defend everybody. And then I got cards later, like after upgrading, that allowed me to defend, and by defending, get an extra attack.
Yeah.
And he was very reactive, whereas Spider-Man helped stop the thing that we haven't even talked about yet, which was like the villain's scheme.
Yeah.
Which that's how they win. And so like it was a lot of fun. I thought the theme was great. I loved all of the characters. Every time I saw a card, I was like, oh, cool, like awesome. And
I liked it way more than I thought I would. Full transparency, the only reason that we brought this over is because on our Patreon, which you should check out if you haven't already, there is an option basically to where if you subscribe to the highest tier for 3 months, you can basically tell us to do a video and we'll do it.
And tell us anything.
Yeah, and so one of our patrons has done that tier for 3 months, within reason, and wanted us to play Marvel Champions. So there will be a playthrough coming soon. I think we're going to probably play with basically the same people.
The only thing they wanted though.
Oh, no. There'll be more involved. But like, I wasn't all that interested. Like, Louise asked us to play that, and I was like, cool, we'll do it. like, I guess I'm gonna have to play Marvel Champions.
I was excited.
Yeah, like, I'm not a Marvel guy, and I should clarify, I'm not a Marvel hater. I'm just not a Marvel fanatic.
A bunch of the movies.
I like Marvel even. I'm just not like a fanatic. I don't care about them. But I liked this game way more than I have any right to. I'm not a big fan of deck construction. I'm not a big fan of Marvel. I mean, it's fine. Like, again, I'm not a hater. It's fine.
We typically avoid living card games.
We don't play living card games in any stretch of the imagination. At least yet, we haven't. And it's just one of those that I fully expected to be, I'm playing this for this video, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
I had a really good time.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great. I'm going to look for it.
Yeah.
But not, like, overly seek it.
But if you find a deal.
If I find it,
yeah.
I want it.
Yeah.
I would love to play it more often. And even though I've backed Marvel Zombicide,
and you'll probably get Marvel Dice Throne. Once we play Dice Throne, you're like, oh my god, I love it. You're going to sell Season 1 and buy Marvel Dice Throne. It is what it is. Next game on the list is Disney Sorcerer's Arena by the Op Games.
I think you'll keep this?
Is unreleased. It comes out next month in June. We have a preview copy. We are playing it, running it through paces. We've played 2 times so far. And to clarify, because we wanted to review it well, we are playing with the chapter introduction system.
Yeah.
So basically, it starts you off with
really
a very
cool way, by the way, to
yeah. Basically, like a tutorial in which like you start with very limited options, 2 players, and their characters aren't really different. And then once you understand the flow of the game, your characters get different and you get 3. The only thing we've played the exact same game except for we haven't used the gear and upgrade options, which I'm going to say is we've played 90% of the game. That last 10% may change how we feel about it. And I'm not reviewing this game. This is strictly a, first impressions. We want to talk about our plays of it this month.
Yeah.
There will be more content on this in the future.
And I honestly wish that I would have played the app, and probably before
I've never played the app either.
Before the future content.
I don't even know how similar it is. No idea.
Yeah. I think this is one that... this is tough. Okay. I think that you should... okay, this is me telling you what you should do. I think you need to try this with Danielle before you get rid of it. But I think that this ultimately will be like other Skirmish games in your collection that will stay there for a little while and then probably see their way out.
That's fair. I don't 100% know. I think it's gonna take more plays for me to decide. As of now, I'm leaning towards staying than leaving. It's certainly not at the point right now where I'm like, yeah, this needs to leave. I only played it with you. I need to play it with Danielle. I'd like to. I don't think it's something that I can play the chapter 4 with the girls, but like chapter 1, maybe move 2 spots, hit for 2. And like that might be something that they like. I don't. It's not that fun for me. But like when you're playing games with your 4-year-old, you care more about whether they're having fun or not. And maybe this will tick that box. Of course, I want more characters like Moana and stuff like that, which are coming in the Rising Tides expansion. But I quite enjoyed it. Honestly, my biggest qualms with it so far are from a production standpoint, which is really disheartening because I thought this game was going to be like really well produced. I don't mean like minis and plastic cards like Chip Theory games, but I mean like I thought it would be sound and solid, and I think my problems with the production are not the decisions they've made but the execution on them. There are several things that are just like
the board.
Like for example, the board is not very flat. Like it just doesn't lay very flat.
It's
a lot of big humps. The characters, both Gaston and Aladdin, do not actually fit in their base.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have to glue them, but then they won't be stored properly. But like if you go to like lift the character standee to move it, it just slips right out.
Now, granted, you don't have any that don't fit in them. Like you don't have to like cut them.
That's true. I'd rather have to cut them though, because
really?
because once I cut them, they would actually stay.
That's true, I guess.
If I cut them well, I guess. Yeah. But let's talk about the gameplay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like the gameplay though is solid. Yeah. Like I think that like it really surprised me how good that part of it was.
Yeah. I think we played the first with just 2 characters, and we're like, okay, like whatever. You don't have enough you can do. And then when you
only
start
played chapter 1,
right?
Yeah.
And then when you start drafting the characters, and the characters that you draft affect your hand size. That was very unique. Like I had 7 cards to your 5, so I mean I was rocking 2 more cards every turn than you were, which was adding a lot more variety and a lot more variability to what I can do every turn. It ended up coming down to like one turn away that you ended up beating me, but it was very, very close there at the end.
Yeah, and you started to like find ways to stop me,
yeah,
too, which was cool.
And that's where a lot of like the strategy kind of shone through, right? Because like I was able to block your access to a guy that you needed to be in, and I had like Sully, and I made myself taunted to where you had to come hit me if you had a direct attack. You could only hit the guy who was weak if you had an indirect attack. And you were at the point where you were literally drawing one card every turn.
Yeah.
Because you'd exhausted your hand, and so you were like, this is my card for the turn. And you were able to snake by there at the very end, but like it was tight, and I liked that I still had my full hand of 7.
Yeah.
You're down to 1 because of decisions you made early on, like discarding things to increase damage, which obviously worked out for you in the end. But it definitely felt like the decision making was shining through towards the end, and I'm excited to play it more. I like it quite a lot. I mean, I don't love it yet, and I'm interested to see how we go after, but like at this point, I can confidently say that I really enjoyed it, and we'll have more to talk about it in the future once we've played it several more times.
My last one. And I have to pivot here because it was going to be 4.
Whoops.
But I have 3 to choose from, and I think I'm going to pick this one. This was one that I played at the very beginning of May.
Do I have it?
It is not one that you own.
Have I played it?
Game Right Games, and I don't think that you have played it yet.
Not Abandoned All
You
Artichokes,
really should play it, though. And it's one that I've been playing for a few months, but like this month I broke it out after it being on my shelf for like a while. And I was even considering getting rid of it, so I played it because I wanted to find out if I wanted to get rid of it. This is Sushi Roll.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right,
We talked about that because in your shelf video, I was like, I think you're gonna call this like, I need to play it more often.
Yeah, this month kind of stinks for my like. What do you guys think? Because you pretty much know what I
don't know what to think about this one though, because I think you've played it since the shelf video, and that's the last time I talked to you about it. Ugh. See, the problem is you already have Sushi Go Party.
Yep.
And Sushi Roll and Sushi Go Normal, right? Those are the 3 that you have?
I have gifted away base Sushi Go.
Okay, as you should. I don't think there's any need to own that and Sushi Go Normal or Party, other than travel purposes.
Other than travel. But the thing is that Emily, there was a moment recently where we were like, well, we want to play Sushi Go, but I mean, Sushi Go Party is so much better.
Right.
So like we just brought that with us.
No reason, yeah. I think, especially because you got rid of base, I think they're different enough that you are going to hold on to them for now, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So, I brought it to a game night with my family. It plays up to 5, so it was perfect for the amount of people that were there at the time. And I was surprised that they ended up really liking it.
Okay.
They love dice. I mean, I love dice too.
Yeah, who doesn't?
But something that they immediately latched onto was, that I've played Sagrada with them.
Yeah.
The 5 to 6 player expansion adds the personal
pools
of dice. Well, this game is basically that, where it's the Sushi Go cards, but in dice form.
Okay.
They're on these dice, and you have your own little pools, and they're actually on these little like what is it called? A
Rondelle?
No, it's like a very sushi themed thing where like Japanese restaurant.
Oh, like the conveyor belt.
Conveyor belt thing. And the thing that they loved about it, and they latched onto immediately, was the powers that you have. So in base Sushi Go, it's just take a card, then you pass, then everybody reveals. Take a card, pass, reveal. Well, in this one, you know what everybody else is choosing from. And you also have these little things that let you A, re-roll your dice if you want to, or B, on your turn, because each person takes a turn going around the table, choosing to swap 2 dice.
Okay.
And so you have a limited number of those. You can get more by picking dice that give you more, but then you don't get other like actual point things. But that ended up being huge in our game. The strategy of, if I swap these, even with the person to my right, I could potentially get both of these things and keep them from getting it, and knowing that they don't want that because they already passed it to me.
Right.
And it's really neat. At least for them, they loved the added strategy because Space Sushi Go is great, right? Especially if you want to like play something in between like some heavier games, or you don't want to think too much.
Yeah, how comparable are they in like time played? Because like Sushi Go is not necessarily a filler; it's a shorter game.
This, I would say, is about double the time.
Okay.
Specifically because you take turns.
Right.
But...
rather than all taking passings at the same time.
Yeah. But it's still pretty fast.
Okay.
I think that this is a solid... It's a solid game that will stay in my collection for a while.
Okay.
I was at least very surprised at how much my family enjoyed it. And then they even taught me a little bit more about, like, why I should like it more, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I wouldn't even mind showing it to you at some point.
Yeah.
But the dice version of Sushi Go is a good.
It's
game.
a hit.
Yeah,
It's a hit.
It's staying.
Thanks for watching and joining us for the month of May. We will see you in June for another recap.
The summer recap.
The summer recap. I was trying to think of something funny to say. I couldn't. We'll see you next time.
That's like
Typical me.
definition of Tablenauts.
Yeah.
Trying to think of something.
And then we just keep talking.
Anyway, love you guys.
Thanks. Love you too.
Bye.
Good stuff.
Where's Kenny?
I don't know. He's probably outside waiting for. He probably texted us on Discord.